everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, relatability. I have a lot of relatability with this movie. Now, it is not necessarily with, the wine tasting, although I have done quite a lot of that, even in the United States, in Oregon and in Washington State. I haven't been to Napa Valley, but, I recognize some of the things that, goes on, in American wineyards and, the tasting process and all that stuff. So they got that feeling down to a T. Now, I am talking about Amy Poehler's character, Abby, who is, the planner of this little vacation, because I do enormous amounts of research whenever I'm going somewhere on a journey, even if it's just for, 2 or 3 days, or if it's 5 weeks. I arrange everything, and I think about everything. We're going to have lunch there, we're going to have dinner there, we're going to have a craft beer here, we're going to visit this museum, we're going to visit this small little town that lies from point A to point B. I do exactly what Abby does, and I get equal amounts of appreciation for it. So I could really feel what she felt, but at least I don't make pamphlets, and I'm not quite as stuck up on the schedule as she was, because I do have some flexibility. She was a little bit maybe too unflexible for my taste, but I can really relate to her. Can I relate to the rest of the movie? Not as much, but let's find out what this movie is about, shall we? This is Wine Country. Rebecca is turning 50. She doesn't really want to make a big deal out of it. She doesn't want to make, a big fuss about it. But Abby is not having any of that, because she wants to, help her friend have an epic and memorable 50th birthday. So she takes it upon herself to arrange this thing. She rents this house in Napa Valley, and she, arranges for them to have an epic encounter with the California wine scene. She's a bit of an, workaholic, and she is obsessed about, arranging things. And as I said in the intro, I can really relate to that. So her, Abby, and a bunch of their friends from the past, gets together for, a few days in Napa Valley. All the ladies that comes along do have some kind of baggage that they're carrying. It's loneliness, it is cancer, it's husband-related, problems and stuff like that. Is sanity and friendship going to be able to survive this celebration of this 50th birthday? That's essentially what we're going to find out in this movie. Now, I will say this, that I'm probably not the designated audience for this movie, but since I watched just about everything I can get my hands on, I have, of course, seen this movie too. And since I am a bit of a wine nerd, I kind of got into this movie right from the start, even though I will say that it wasn't that funny, and I will get to that in a second. But I'm going to say this, that if you're comparing this movie to another wine-related movie such as Sideways, it feels like that movie had just so much passion and so much more clever writing behind it. This movie feels more like an obligation towards Netflix, and Amy Poehler took it upon herself to try to make the best of a rather lackluster script, because let's face it, this movie has almost zero stakes. There's really nothing that happens in this movie. It's just a movie that's slightly stitched together with different, events that takes place. And the comedy that they do present to us is very lightweight, and it feels like really nothing happens to shake things up. I really think that they should have done something to, shake up the status quo a bit. Either have, a dead body, or a kidnapping, or, maybe have the villa double booked, so, a bunch of college guys shows up there, and one of the ladies can have an affair with, one of the young hot guys, or do something. It feels like we're not building towards anything, and in the end the movie just kind of fades out, like, it happened until it doesn't happen anymore. So that is my biggest criticism of this movie, but this is a nice movie. It has a friendly tone, and there is nothing that goes on here that is bad or anything like that, and the cinematography is really good, and we have a bunch of very talented actresses in this movie. Tina Fey is here, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph, and Jason Schwartzman, who, by the way, really got the short end of the stick. He spent so long making that paella, and then they just say, fuck it, and they just go out. Who ate the paella? Who ate the goddamn paella? There are setups here that you could have made a lot of funny jokes around, and you could have made maybe something that would have, you know, tug at the heartstring or tickle the funny bone, but they decided to sort of not do that. This movie has a little bit of this Judd Apatow dramedy type of thing, even though the runtime isn't quite as bloated, even though I will say that 103 minutes is a little bit excessive. It is not, you know, to the point where I'm getting really restless. Please end this, because it is a pleasant movie to watch, and it is a movie that I'm sort of kind of recommends, because I think that there is an audience for this type of movie, which they would probably describe as a warm and heartfelt comedy. But I just didn't see the comedy happening. And by the way, that tarot reading lady, she was a complete and utter asshole. My God, she was horrible. Anyway, so this movie might not have been my cup of tea, but I'm sure that other people who just want to have a nice, uncomplicated movie, they want to sit down and see talented actresses do nice things in a nice setting and maybe get inspired to themselves go to Napa Valley. This is a pretty good movie, even though I will say, but my God, it is expensive to rent anything in Napa Valley. My God, how does anybody afford to go there? But that's beside the point. I'm always thinking about a movie called Rough Night when I see this movie, because that movie had sort of kind of a similar idea, even though it was a bachelorette party rather than a 50th birthday celebration. But they threw in, you know, the dead stripper thing, and that drove the movie. And they also tied it together in the end in a very nice way. Rough Night is a movie I do really recommend, by the way. This movie didn't really have anything going on here, and the running gag that they did have in this movie didn't really amount to anything, so I don't know. But despite that, the acting is very good, and I really believe, you know, all of these characters, you know, is going to feel and do what they're going to do. It's just that they don't have that much interesting material to work with, but it was a movie that was a pleasant experience, but really nothing more. I don't know if it is too generous of me to give this movie 46 points, but I think that this is a very competently made movie that looks great, has some really good and talented people behind and in front of the camera. This is the poster girl basically for a completely decent movie, so take that for what you will. By the way, side question, which is your favorite American wine district? Mine is personally Washington State. But which one is yours? Comment below, and I'll see you next time from Well So and So Reviewing Well Such and Such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.